Lucy, do you want to come say hi? Psst, psst, psst. Yeah. Hi. Come here and say hello to your fans. People have been requesting you. There she is. All right. So you're not going to cooperate because cat. Okay. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Heather and as always I'm reading with a vengeance and I hope you are too. Today I am going to tell you about the books that are coming out in August 2025 that I am super excited about, and I think you will be too if you haven't heard about them already. I used to do these videos pretty regularly, but I haven't done one since September. So I am very much overdue, and I was super excited to make this video when I started to see what is coming out in August. Normally when I do these videos, I usually pick maybe 5 or 6 because I don't want to inundate you with a bunch of new books that are coming out, and there are a lot of books coming out in August, but I couldn't narrow it down to such a small number. I have 11 to tell you about today, but they are all books that I am specifically excited to read for several different reasons. I have some debut authors on this list. I have some auto read authors on this list. There are specific books on this list that I picked because of the certain narrative that's used, like coming of age, cli-fi, dystopia, and there's some other ones too. There are books that have a theme that are particularly timely for the world that we're living in right now. And then there are just books that are just plain fun. All right, I'm going to get right into it because, like I said, I have quite a few books to tell you about. The first book I'm going to tell you about is A Dog in Georgia by Lauren Grodstein. So this is literary fiction, and you're following Amy, and she is a chef. At least she used to be. Somewhere along the way, she found herself to be a wife, a stepmother, and getting her life kind of pulled in all these different directions where she loses herself a little bit. As an escape for herself, over the past few months, she has been watching these YouTube videos that follow this dog in the country of Georgia named Angel, who escorts these children in this small town of the country of Georgia to school. And his videos are viewed by millions. But then one day, Angel goes missing, and Amy, as a further escape from all the woes in her life currently, volunteers to help and go find him. So she goes to this small town, and she finds herself on a journey not just to find a lost dog, but to find herself. And of course, she meets some interesting characters along the way, to include a mysterious and attractive Russian, a rebellious teenager, some post-Soviet grandmothers, and of course, the story includes the rich foods of the area, the culture, and of course, the complicated politics of Georgia. So, of course, the dog attracted me to this story, but I do love a story about a woman's self-discovery after achieving the things that society believes that she should achieve. A Dog in Georgia is 304 pages long and comes out August 5th. Next up is 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano. This is the author of Dead 11, which I have on my shelf. I haven't read yet. Now, I picked this one for a couple of reasons. The first one being that we are upon spooky season. And the second one is the main character is a librarian. Now, as the title suggests, this is a horror book, so it's not going to be for everybody. But this one follows Piper. She is the librarian at the public library, but she is a liaison for the middle school. So she's at the middle school quite often. She knows a lot of the kids. And then one year, a new girl, Avery, shows up, and right away Piper knows there's something not quite right about her. For starters, Avery won't touch any kind of technology, not even the computers that the school provides. And even more disturbing, her mother attends school with her, never leaving her side, even when Avery goes to the restroom. And Piper starts to hear kind of rumblings and rumors among the kids at the school. Maybe Avery's mom is a witch. Avery's father and sister died under mysterious, if not supernatural, circumstances. But Piper feels for Avery. She sees how lonely and isolated she is and knows just how awful that can be, especially in middle school. So she decides to befriend Avery. And it's not long before she realizes it's the worst decision that she's ever made. 13 Months Haunted is 384 pages long and comes out August 12th. Next up is The Incredible Kindness of Paper by Evelyn Skye. This is contemporary fiction with a little bit of romance and a little bit of magical realism. And there's just something about it that appealed to me. This one follows Chloe, and the story opens up with her in elementary school, and she's been assigned Oliver as a pen pal. Not really sure where Oliver is in relationship to Chloe, but a deep, meaningful friendship develops between Oliver and Chloe. Of course, until disaster strikes. Not sure what that is. But then the story jumps to over 20 years later. Chloe is in New York City. She is a high school guidance counselor, but life isn't what Chloe dreamed it would be. She's dealing with ever-increasing rents. She's facing a possible layoff. She's dealing with a relationship that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And as many, many people in a huge city like New York, she's dealing with loneliness. She reaches a point of desperation and in need of encouragement, and she gives herself a pep talk by writing kind of an inspirational message to herself on a yellow sticky note, and she folds it into an origami rose. And she starts to make more and more of these little origami roses with inspirational messages in them. And one of these roses finds its way into one of her neighbors, and it helps this neighbor so much that it inspires Chloe to start leaving these roses all over the city. Across the city, Oliver is living a life as a financial analyst, and he is still struggling with decisions that he has made in the past, certain events and circumstances that led him to leave everything behind as a teenager, including Chloe. And one day, Oliver finds one of these origami roses, and it changes his life forever. Doesn't this just sound super whimsical and magical in the best way? This one just spoke to me for, I think, obvious reasons. The Incredible Kindness of Paper is 256 pages long and comes out August 12th. Next up is The Sunflower Boys by Sam Walkman. I immediately put this on my TBR because it takes place in Ukraine. And then on top of that, it's a coming-of-age story. So here we are. The Sunflower Boys is historical fiction, and we're following a young boy named Artem. Artem is 12 years old, and in many ways his life is normal. He goes to school, he helps his grandfather on their sunflower farm because his father is working over in America. He draws in his beloved sketchbook that his father gave him. He swims in the river with his younger brother, Yuri. In secret, though, Artem is starting to develop romantic feelings for his best friend, Victor. And when you live in a country where love between two boys is unthinkable, Artem believes that growing up, his life will never be normal. Then one day, Artem and his brother Yuri wake up to the sounds of bombs, and his home is destroyed, his grandfather is killed, and Artem and Yuri are left to fend for themselves. And they try to traverse the country that their ancestors helped to build to try to reach safety and connect with their father. We're dealing with themes of love, identity, lost innocence. We are going to learn about the history of Ukraine and what they're going through right now. This is going to be an exploration of young queer love, the Ukrainian spirit, and a family's struggle to survive. I feel like this is going to break my heart into a million pieces, and I am here for it. The Sunflower Boys is 352 pages and comes out August 12th. Next up, we have Atomic Hearts by Megan Cummins, which is a debut novel. It is contemporary literary fiction. We are following Gertie, and the story opens, she's 16 years old, and she's living in a small town in Michigan. She spends most of her time with her dearest, closest best friend, Cindy, and they are connected and have been bonded since birth because of each of their fathers struggle with addiction. So neither of their lives are very good as young girls, but life is always better when they're together. However, Gertie is harboring a secret that could destroy her friendship with Cindy. After an accident involving a bonfire and an aerosol can that sends Gertie to the hospital, Gertie finds herself in a position of nowhere to go except to Sioux Falls to live with her newly clean father. While the idea of doing that makes Gertie a little bit nervous, she is happy to go to escape the drama that she's caused in her own town. But once she gets there, she realizes a lot of that drama is the same in her new town, with the parties and the boys and the drinking. And of course, there's the constant worry that her father's going to fall off the wagon. And on top of all of that, Gertie is struggling because she wants so badly to share with Cindy her secret, but she is terrified of the consequences of that. And to escape that, Gertie is writing a novel. It's a fantasy novel where a girl is in a whole new world and she's surviving by her wits alone. Fast forward years later, and ghosts of the past continue to haunt Gertie, and Gertie decides to write again. And in this novel that I think ultimately gets published, she writes her character playing out the life that Gertie wished was true. And then we find out what happens in Gertie's life when she has the grace to tell her truth. So this one appeals to me because this is another coming of age story, and the relationship between two people who love each other over time. This is a story with themes of friendship, love, and imagination. And debut novels are just always exciting for me. Atomic Hearts is 352 pages, which, by the way, is a sweet spot for me, and it comes out August 5th. The next one is another debut novel. This is The Unbroken Coast by Nalini Jones. It's another story about relationships, but it is a different kind of relationship, but one that appeals to me nonetheless. This one takes place in India, set in and around a fishing village in Mumbai. The story opens in Mumbai, 1978, and you're following retired Professor Francis Almeida. And the night his granddaughter is born in America, he's riding his bicycle through town. His family members, children are spread across the globe, and he's really kind of contemplating on what he's going to do next. As he's riding through this fishing village, he encounters a young mother who is praying at a shrine for her young baby daughter who is very, very ill with fever. And then almost 10 years later, Francis encounters this young girl. She's now 10 years old. She's Celia. She is the daughter of a fisherman who is running from a debt collector. And when an accident brings Celia's and Francis's families together, they discover they each respectively have new allies. The story spans the turbulent years when Bombay became Mumbai. So it really gets into the environmental and economic pressures that changed the lives of the indigenous fishermen. We're going to be exploring themes of memory and faith and storytelling, all while we follow this relationship of a young girl who's trying to find her place in the world and an aging historian reckoning with his past. The Unbroken Coast is a chunker. It is 480 pages long, and it comes out August 12th. And now for something new and different for me, kind of. Next up is The Island of Last Things by Emma Slowly. This is literary fiction with some science fiction, with some dystopia, a little speculative. I think this one is going to be good for fans of Taya Obrecht and Charlotte McConaughey. This one follows two zookeepers at the last zoo in the world. So this one follows Camille. She is the zookeeper at this last zoo that happens to be on Alcatraz Island. And she is a person who prefers animals over people. I feel ya, Camille. And she likes her own little serene sanctuary, isolated from the outside world where there are resistance groups and violent cartels. In her zoo, she's got this serene environment with her chimpanzees and her tree frogs and her jaguars and other animals that just don't exist in the wild anymore. In fact, there is no wild animals anymore in this particular world. And she's just living her life until it is upended when Sailor arrives, a zookeeper from Paris. And immediately Camille is drawn to Sailor. One of the things that draws Sailor and Camille together is their differences. Camille is a creature of habit and enjoys routine and the steadiness of it and the safety of routine, while Sailor kind of chafes at the rigid rules of the zoo that Camille runs. But they're drawn to each other nonetheless. They have the same passions about wild animals, and they each have ideas on what would make their lives better. And they each start to imagine what life would be like if they could create a world where wildlife exists again. But of course, there are the dangers of what would happen if their plan fails. It would be catastrophic with the cartels and the resistance in the outside world. And so Camille must decide if she's willing to risk everything for a better life, and more importantly, a better world. I think this story is going to offer hope for a future of ours. At least I hope it's hopeful. But of course, I think at the same time, it's really going to put a spotlight on the dangers we face in our future, as far as the air we breathe, the water we drink, and of course, the ecosystem that is on the brink of utter destruction. So this one, of course, falls in the category of timely as far as I'm concerned, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. The Island of Last Things is 272 pages and comes out August 12th. Next up is Five Found Dead by Sulari Gentile. This one appealed to me for a couple of reasons. Spooky season, I love a good mystery thriller, but I also think this one will appeal to fans of Agatha Christie. So this one follows Joe, who is a fiction writer, and he has just survived an illness via a really intense medical treatment, and he is on the mend. He and his twin sister Meredith decide to go on a trip for some rejuvenation, some relaxation, and hopefully get Joe's writing and creative juices flowing again. And so they decide to go on a train trip on the Orient Express. So there they are on this train trip, having a great time. And then one morning they wake up and discover that the cabin next to theirs is an apparent crime scene. There's blood everywhere, but there's no body. Circumstances are such that Joe and Meredith, with the help of some other passengers who have law enforcement backgrounds, are going to try to put the pieces together of what happened in this cabin and where is the supposed victim. But then the steward who's supposed to be guarding that room is murdered. And so they realize that a killing spree is upon them. And the story goes from there. I think this one is going to be a fun one. Of course, there's going to be some twists and turns. There's that whole isolation thing because they're on a train. And then there's that funny plot device of a book within a book, as well as a reimagining perhaps. I think this one just sounds super fun, and 'tis the season for a good murder mystery. Five Found Dead is 320 pages long and comes out August 19th. The next one is by a well-known author, and I picked it because of, well, just how fun it sounds, and you're going to get it as soon as you hear about it. We've got Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. Look at this cover. In this one, we're following Lottie Jones, and she is a retired serial killer. She changed her identity years ago, and now she's living comfortably in this small town, and her life is filled with bingo nights at the local church and gossiping with her friends. But then, of course, a journalist shows up at her door, an investigative journalist, no less, and Lottie's life is turned upside down. What else do you need to know about this book? This one sounds like a fun time, perfect for spooky season. And again, for me, I'm always up for a good mystery thriller, no matter what time of year it is, and this one just fits the bill. Too Old for This is a little bit of a chunker. It's at 400 pages and it comes out August 12th. The next one I'm going to talk to you about, I'm really excited about because it's by one of my favorite authors, Karen Slaughter. And not only that, it's the first in a new series. because that's what I need to do, start a new series. The book I'm talking about is We Are All Guilty Here, and it is the first in a series called North Falls. North Falls is a small town, one of those cozy towns where everybody knows everybody, or so they think. There's a night where there's a celebration going on and there's fireworks, and this night is a night that 2 teenage girls go missing. Enter Officer Emmy Clifton, who I think is going to be the main character in this series. She is tasked with finding out what happened to these 2 girls, and it's personal for her because I think one of the girls is her best friend's daughter. So it's going to be a story with the secrets that teenage girls keep. There are many. The secrets of a small town. There are many. And then, of course, learning things about certain people that nobody in the town knew about. I am here for Karen Slaughter. Her writing is absolutely top-notch. If you are a fan of Karen Slaughter, you know that she doesn't pull any punches. She gets into some dark themes, but she elevates the mystery thriller and just makes these stories so compelling. I can't even describe it any better than that. So I am really, really looking forward to this one. Another chunker, We Are All Guilty, comes in at 448 pages, and it hits the stands on August 12th. A lot of books on August 12th. I think August 12th is going to be a good day. And finally, we have a book by one of my favorite authors, Mississippi Blue 42 by Eli Craner. Eli Craner wrote Ozark Dogs and Broiler, both books I very much enjoyed. Ozark Dogs was one of my favorites of, I think, 2021 or 22. He's turned into an auto-read author for me. This, I believe, is the first in a new series, and you're following newly minted FBI agent Ray Johnson. Ray, R-A-E, so we have a female lead again, which I love. We are set in Compton, Mississippi, where college football is everything. And if you know anything about college football, you know that the southeast part of the United States, college football is everything. And in Mississippi, even more so. The SEC is a conference that is like no other. And I know this because my husband is a huge SEC fan. Anyways, Ray is sent to investigate and bust so-called bagmen who are diehard fans who effect recruiting decisions and game outcomes by providing huge cash bonuses to the players. Ray is no stranger to football. She was practically raised on the football field because her father was a college football coach. Nevertheless, she is not having much success with her current investigation. But then things are made even more complicated when the town's star quarterback is thrown off a roof to his death with a money-filled gym bag beside him. So we have sports, we have crime, we have small town drama. This one sounds like a winner to me. I'm not a huge football fan. I'll be the first to admit it. I am more of a baseball fan, but nevertheless, I love Eli Craner. I love his writing, and I am super excited for this book. Mississippi Blue 42 comes in at 384 pages and comes out August 5th. So that is it. Those are all the books that I am really excited about to come out in August. What books are you looking forward to? I would love to hear about them. Please let me know, or just say hi down in the doodly-doo. If you like this video, please help a girl out by clicking that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.